Today's show is going to be a good show. We're talking about good health, or, as I have said earlier, from the rooter to the tutor. So welcome to our show, where we talk about being in proper alignment with mind, body, and soul as God intended. I am Dr. Joseph Fowler Jr.
And I am Dr. Brandon K. Williams.
Yes, and we are chiropractors and co-founders of Align for Life Wellness. Now, before we get started with our guest today, we want to delve a little bit into chiropractic. We do this before every show, okay? Mm-hmm. And so what we like to do is try to dispel some myths about chiropractic. So the myth that we want to dispel today is chiropractic adjustments are dangerous. We've heard this, I hear this all the time. Seems like every other week almost, we are talking to somebody who may be new, because once our patients come in, our already patient that we already have, they know, but the new people. And so chiropractic care is safe when performed by a licensed professional. Serious complications are extremely rare, especially when compared to some medications, surgeries, and other forms of treatment.
Yes, I always say and I always tell our patients, coming to see your chiropractor is no different and no more dangerous than going to see your primary care provider.
Yes.
No different.
No different at all. So sources estimate the risk of serious complications from getting an adjustment to be as low as 1 to 2 million to 1 in 5 million. So again, very extremely low. Of course, you may have some minor side effects like potential soreness, but that's no different from working out. You know, if you have not worked out in a while, or you start working out, in the very beginning you can't lift much, you can't run far, and you may be a little sore after the first couple of workouts, right? But if you continue to go back to the gym day after day, week after week, you're able to lift more, run further, because you built your endurance up. And that's what we do in adjustments. What we're doing is we're building up your neurological endurance, okay? So again, today we're going to talk about the GI tract health, your gut health, or as I say it, from the root to the tutor. So before we introduce the guests, I just want to introduce or talk about a couple of facts, okay, about gut health related to the gut. So approximately 70 to 80% of your immune system resides in your gut. Absolutely. Your gut is a regenerative organ that's constantly repairing damage from food, bacteria, and other toxins. Okay. Your gut can affect mood, stress levels, and sleep patterns. And one last thing, your gut being unhealthy, an unhealthy gut can contribute to chronic inflammation and increased susceptibility to infections as well as illnesses. And that kind of leads us to where we're going today, the chronic inflammations and all that kind of stuff. So again, today we have two special guests, two beautiful guests. For those who can see them, I know your eyes are just straining because of the beauty, who will bring their expertise in understanding gut health.
Absolutely. So I'm going to introduce Reverend Sandy Rodgers, an author, TV and radio personality, content creator, film producer, life coach, Reiki master, and a certified raw whole food plant-based educator. Born and raised in Watts, California.
Watts fine.
Her deep desire to help herself and others heal naturally stems from several misdiagnoses she's received throughout her life. One such diagnosis predicted she'd be dead within 2 years if she refused to follow the regimen given by her doctors. She totally healed her body of Crohn's disease in 18 months. Reverend Rodgers remains a willing servant of humanity and welcomes any occasion to offer wisdom to others.
Yes.
Welcome, Reverend Sandy Rodgers.
Thank you so much.
Sister Rodgers. All right, so I will be introducing the beautiful Ms. Johane Filemon, who is a nationally recognized registered dietitian, nutritionist, and holistic gut health expert, specializing in helping people naturally to reverse inflammation through evidence-based nutrition. All right. Ms. Filemon has over 20 years of clinical and private practice experience in the field of nutrition. She's been in private practice right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So definitely want you guys to come and see her. Her practice, which is called Wonderfully Nutritious Solutions, is focused on helping others reverse chronic inflammation through food by utilizing functional and holistic nutrition, making gut health and anti-inflammatory living accessible, real, and I like this last one, doable.
Yes.
She holds a bachelor's degree in exercise science and dietetics and a master's degree in food and nutrition science, and is a mom of 5 boys. Of which,
Okay, all right. That's an endeavor in and of itself, right?
Thank you for the
Kudos
boys.
to you.
And we have one of them here. Is it Preston, I believe?
Yes.
He's right here. So yeah. Preston is. He told me he was 14, but when he told me that, I said he had to be about 24. So yeah. So again, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
For having me.
Thanks. So before we get started, we like to play a little game. Okay. All right. And so we call this game this or that. All right. And so we're gonna ask you a few little something, and we're gonna just see what you say. So I'll go first, Doc. So Ms. Filemon,
Yes.
cook at home or order in?
I'm a cook at home all the way. All the way.
That's good.
How about you, Reverend Rodgers, Sister Rodgers? What do you cook at home or order in?
Oh, same question. I must prepare my meal at home.
Absolutely. And not to say that I've never eaten out.
Yeah.
Eat out.
Yeah.
But predominantly at home, because I need to know what's in my food.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
So this next one now, this kind of ties into what we just said. I'm gonna see what you guys say. I'm gonna go with Ms. Rodgers first. All right, Reverend Rodgers. Big closet or big kitchen?
Big kitchen.
Oh. Okay.
That's a good one. I'm gonna go with Reverend Rodgers and say big kitchen.
Really, I'm surprised.
I can always get little closets together in the house to make up
No.
to fit everything I need to
There
fit.
you go. There you go.
Now, if you
But
like
a
my
big
wife,
kitchen is
no,
where I'm-
I'm about to get in trouble. But if you like my wife, you not only your designated closet, but every other closet in the house, guest room and other.
Listen, my son can tell y'all. My husband's always like, I take the most of our joint closet, and then I have a couple of other closets in the house that I've throughout the years. I don't throw things away. I believe in sustainability.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. So that's why like I said, I thought at least one of you guys would have said big closet, but that's okay. They're big kitchens. You guys like to cook in.
There you go.
Yes.
There you
You
go.
gonna do one?
Yeah, let's do one more. All right, so we'll start with Reverend Rodgers. So, I already know the answer to this.
Okay.
House plant or candles?
House plants, of
I
course.
knew that. I knew you would say that.
You know me too well.
I think I do.
Same question.
It's the same answer. It's not house plants, because I have a 3-year-old and he would be all in there. But I do have a garden.
Okay.
I have a garden full of all kinds of stuff. Oregano, thyme, rosemary, tomatoes, eggplant,
Okay.
squash.
Okay, well we know we come to eat.
I got
Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
I know
And
where I'm going
candles,
for lunch.
I used to be a candle girl before I knew better.
Okay.
That was
okay.
over 20 years ago. Now that I know better,
Right.
candles are no longer something that I use regularly. Not to say that there's not anything out there that's non-toxic, but a lot of them are toxic. So
Okay.
I don't have them in my home.
And they are, and that's actually a podcast for another day. But we're gonna have something about
Yes.
that. Yeah. All right. So let's start. So Sister Filemon just started. We'll let Ms. Rodgers go first. So we just want to tell anything that Doc may have missed in that great introduction that you want people to know, or even expound on what he's already said. Just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
I would like to add to what Dr. Williams said, is that I consider myself a lifelong learner and teacher.
Okay.
So as I'm learning new things, I'm testing them, and then I'm explaining to other people what the process has been, what I went through, and so that they have more of a natural reaction to it, And so Ms. Johane, I forget the last name.
Filemon.
When you were talking about the garden, they know I'm in the garden all the time.
Am I playing in dirt again?
Yeah, really. And so that is the best way to get our nutrients and minerals and vitamins into our system without the fear of it being chemicalized.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that word. All
And to even add to that, being in the garden itself, that's touching the soil, is part of health. It's feeding the good bacteria in your gut. So what I used to be a mom that's like hand sanitizer. You know, I've been telling my kids this, you know, if we are anywhere in the city, predominantly, I may use hand sanitizer, but if we're taking a hike, if we're out in the garden, and it's lunchtime, we may not hand sanitize. We may just grab our sandwiches and eat. As long as you didn't dig your hand into you know, filthy. But that, you know, atmosphere, that environment is feeding our good bacteria. And a lot of that has been taken away from us because we've been immersed in the society of antibiotic.
And this advent of all these superbugs due to the overuse of antibiotics. You know, when people hear the word bacteria, they automatically think it's a bad thing. But many don't know that there's good bacteria that help as far as our immunity, that help to break down our foods, help for our bodies to assimilate those foods and nutrients. So we'll get into a little bit of that as we get into the conversation. So before we move forward, Ms. Filemon, I know Dr. Fowler gave an illustrious introduction. Is there anything you want the good people to, any additional information you want folks to know?
Sure. I mean, before I even get into myself, a nod to you guys as chiropractors. During my 5 birthing experiences, my 3rd one was breached. He was breached, and it was my OBGYN sent me to a chiropractor that was specialized in Webster's technique for breech babies, and within, I think it was like 2 sessions, he was flipped. I mean, we tried everything with the doctor, on the doctor end. They did, what is that called? When they flipped the baby, they brought me to the hospital just in case I went into labor and all that. But it was the Webster's technique that helped. We flip him because my hips were misaligned. And they once the alignment got, you know, where it needs to be, he felt comfortable to go down there and stay down there. I was like, what, 36 and a half weeks? So just a nod to you guys. Chiropractic care has so much. So just to add a little bit to the introduction, how I got on this side of the field of nutrition was because I got sick. And 2013 is when it came out. I had already had my firstborn, and I was severely sick. I was tired all the time. Even if I had 8 hours of sleep or more, I was tired. I felt like somebody took a blowtorch and was just like on my stomach all the time. My wrists, they hurt. Went to the doctor and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. I was like, Lord God, is it cancer? And they just can't see it. What is wrong with me? They sent me to all kinds of specialists, rheumatologists, gastroenterology. I mean, rheumatology was scaring me, and you know, he thought it was lupus. He thought it was MS, all kinds of stuff. And nothing came back positive. And in my mind, I said, I was already in the field of nutrition. I was like, it's whenever I eat certain foods. And again, I was already in the field, so I knew the foods to eat. I wasn't eating anything that was quote unquote bad for you or junk food. You know, predominantly, I would say 90% of or 95% of the meals that I cook are raw, are whole, I should say, not raw, but whole. And so it was my PCP that said, let's run an H. pylori, which is bacteria. And that came back positive. And that H. pylori, we don't know when I caught it. Studies show it's often caught in childhood, and then trauma may be what triggers it, and it manifests. And so my dad had died in 2011, so it could have been that. Trauma is not always physical. Could be mental
as well, too.
Right? And then so it came about, and we treated the H. pylori, but the H. pylori did so much damage by that time. My gut lining had thinned, and that's why I was experiencing everything that I was experiencing. By that time, I had already had my second born, and so rheumatology had given me medication, and I said, Doc, I'm breastfeeding. How does this impact my child? And he's like, this is new. We don't know. And I said, well, that's all you had to tell me. You know, so I was already a researcher. I started researching. I'm like, there has to be an easier way. I knew what to do, but there has to be an easier way for me to do it. Because I had a family, I had a business, and so that's how I got on this side of nutrition, by healing myself first. I reversed my symptoms within 14 days, continued in the healing process, When I went back to rheumatology, he said, so the medications worked, didn't they? And I said, no, doc. I did not take them. I did this, this, and this. And he, didn't understand, because the connection for them when it comes to food and what it can do, they often see food as, I guess, can harm you. So you're eating ultra processed foods, then you're gonna end up with this, this, and that. But they don't connect the food as medicine part.
No,
They don't.
No, I think a lot of them, and I'm gonna let you continue, but I think a lot of them see food as a filler, just to fill you up,
Yeah.
keep you from being hungry, but
Right.
not necessarily eating for health.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. So I use food, finding out, and it's not necessarily, again, I was already in the field of nutrition, so I was eating nutritious foods, but the H. pylori caused a lot of food intolerances, and those food intolerances, they perpetuated my chronic inflammation.
Yes.
And so I needed to find out the foods that was causing me these intolerances, from cashews to strawberries to quinoa was a problem for me. And so once I started removing these and only consuming the foods I knew was my best foods for my body,
Yes.
then the healing occurred, because the body was no longer trying to figure out, okay, we're trying to heal, but you keep introducing these foods that we can't process, your body can't process, so we gotta focus on this and this, we can't.
Right.
So once I removed the stuff that I could not tolerate, it was able to focus on the healing aspect, because the body can do so much. It can do so much.
God put in us, and we say this all the time in the office, God put in us what we need to heal.
Right.
We just have to create that environment from within to
Right.
do that.
Exactly.
And that's one thing Doc and I do, help you create that environment as well as you two as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Ms. Rodgers,
Yes, sir.
take us back. Take us back to when you were first diagnosed with Crohn's disease. What symptoms led you to seek help, and also how long did it take to get a proper diagnosis? I know that was a lot, a mouthful.
Okay, and I'm gonna condense it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. So I had changed my physician, and in going through that introductory, filling out all the papers, she saw that my mom had colon cancer and my dad had diverticulitis. So she says, you need to do a colonoscopy. I'm like, okay, what is it? Let's do it. So when I went back for the results, she said, straight up honest, she said, I've never seen any results like this before in my life. So I called in a team of doctors so that we can all look at it and determine, what it is that's bothering you. I never told her anything was bothering me. And so she says, it's Crohn's. And I have not, you're my first patient, and so I've not educated myself on this disease. If you want additional information, you need to go to the library or go online or something like that. But here's some pills for you to take, okay?
But you're not educated.
But you're not right.
You're not educated, but
Wow,
you're gonna give you some
okay.
pills.
Right.
Okay.
So I took the pills, and they made me sick. This was now my second time with prescription medicine just really causing havoc in my life. Back in my 20s, I was diagnosed with an ulcer and was given the infamous medicine at the time called Tegomit, and it was coming out of my skin
Really?
after a while. Like,
wow.
it looked like a thermometer, like the mercury in a thermometer.
Yeah.
And they put me in a hospital. They had no idea, because I had passed out at work, and they had no idea what had happened to me. So that's always stick in the back of my mind. So I make an appointment and I go back and I say, doctor, these pills, we not getting along. They making me sick, right? And so she said, well, you gotta take them. You gotta take them for the rest of your life. And I
Rest of your
said,
life.
so I put my clothes back on and I went and was sitting in my car and I said, somebody's crazy. It's either you or it's the doctor. Who is it gonna be?
Right.
So I called my brother because I know one of his daughters had some thyroid issues, and she had gone to a doctor there in Texas, and had him to make me an appointment to go and see him. So it was my first experience ever where I sat on this doctor's bed, but I didn't have to take my clothes off, right? I was like, how do you do that, right? But he was a kinesiologist, and he was able just to pinpoint all of what I was feeling, you know. So he gave me a regimen of fasting, doing the master cleanse, and cutting back on, you know, all the different fancy foods and things like that. So I went back for my annual checkup with my doctor, and she says, how you been doing? I'm like, I'm doing good, right? And she says, well, how's the medicine working for you? I said, I stopped taking that back when I came to you. Oh man, she was just hot, right? So now I had to go see a specialist. So this man had me on an ice cold metal table, butt naked, and he's 5-6 feet away from me, saying, okay, here's your choices. You can take the take the medicine that the doctor prescribed for you, or you can start taking steroids, or I can do surgery, but there's no guarantee it's not gonna come back. I said, well shit, those are not So I went back to the doctor in Texas, and so he gave me some food enzymes, he gave me anyway, the food enzymes is what worked, and told me to continue with the fasting, with the cleanses. And I did it over and over and over again, like the master cleanse. I did every 3 months, and into the 18th month, which was now 6 times, right? I had the worst smell to come out of me that I had ever experienced in my life. I had been told a long time ago that most Americans, because of what we eat and how we eat, are constipated by 30 days. That never comes out of us. And that's what that smelled like. That was that 30-day buildup on the side.
Decay. Decay. That's what that was.
Decay.
Yeah.
And so it was at that point, and then I went back to her, and she was like, to the doctor again. And I told her I felt fine, and you know, it was all cleared up. She did another test, and there was nothing found.
Look, and you walked out there with your George Jefferson walk.
Absolutely.
That's good. All right. So, Ms. Filemon.
Yes.
All right. Please explain the link between poor gut health and chronic inflammation.
Absolutely. So I want to clarify gut, because I've had people, when we talk about gut health, they are thinking just what you see on the outside, your beer gut, your abdominal gut. We're talking about your digestive system, right? And so what you eat impacts your overall health. I say gut health is the gateway to your overall health.
Yes.
And so if you're consuming foods that are not nutrient dense, they don't contain fiber, they're not full of color, they are not rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties, the good bacteria in your gut are going to start to die off. Because what's feeding them? They don't have any fuel. So when they don't have any fuel and they start dying off, this is when we start noticing chronic inflammation setting in. Now, it can appear differently in everyone. When we talk about gut health, people often think that the symptoms are going to appear in the digestive system. They don't always appear to you in the digestive system. They can start in the digestive system, but it could be that headache, migraine that you're suffering from. It could be the fact that you have that brain fog. You just can't. Your joints are always hurting. And we're sometimes associating this with these things with age, like we're getting old.
Right.
But it's not necessarily that's not the issue. It's that chronic inflammation that's starting to set in. So all these autoimmune conditions that are out here in the world are due to our lifestyle, what we eat, what we're breathing in, which we don't have a lot of control over, but we do have control over as much as possible what we eat. Even in areas that are rural and they don't have access to a lot of the stuff that others may have in the city, we can make some changes to a point. I often say, I'm Haitian American, born in Haiti. I've been here since I was 6. So I was raised in a Haitian household. And my mom, when we came here, our access to finances were significantly different than when we were in Haiti. And because of this, we couldn't do the things that we did in Haiti. But my mom did not allow that to, impact how she cooked for us at home. She was not going to fast foods. She was not going to canned foods even. Canned foods have gotten a lot better, I will say this, than they were growing up. But she was cooking whole foods. She would find little stands, little farmers places. She wasn't going to the big box places. She would find a way. So where there's a will, there's a way. There's a way for us to make changes. But the lack of nutrients is what's leading us to these chronic inflammations from our diet, and the foods that we're eating.
Okay, all right, that's good.
All right. This is an interesting question. All right. And I would like both of you to respond to this, but Sister Rodgers, I'm going to start with you. In your own words, how do you define healing? And I know you have a unique perspective. So, yes.
So healing for me is the absence of any situation that can be diagnosed with a name. And healing should be something that we all strive towards, because it is possible. It's just paying attention to what aggravates our bodies and what makes it feel good. The sleep, the movement, the exercise, and things. Weekly chiropractic.
That's right. Say it again.
And that we all deserve that. Wellness and healing are the same, and wellness to me is a human right.
I like that.
A human right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Ms. Filemon, how would you define healing?
I would define healing by saying or defining health for me. Healthy or healed is an overall thing. It's, again, not just physical. It's mental as well. So I'm often working with patients where they've had trauma, and I'm always trying to find out when your symptoms began, what was going on in your life. And oftentimes something traumatic happened a few years around that area. And so I'm often recommending mental health therapy, because we're focusing on the diet, but if that trauma is still there, we're not fixing that part, that those stressors are going to perpetuate these symptoms, even if we're working on the nutrition side. So health or healed and healing is an overall thing. It's not just one aspect of the body.
I like that. That's what we take on. So the World Health Organization defines it's not the absence of disease or infirmity, but it is a complete mental, physical, and social well-being of a person. So it's not just what we're putting in us; it's the social, right? The mental, because nothing exists in your body alone.
Right.
If there's something going on somewhere in your body, the other parts of the body react to that. The question is it reacting properly?
Right.
Pain, burning, stiffness, all that is a reaction.
Right.
But as far as we're concerned, it's an improper reaction, because we don't like to be in pain or discomfort and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
In the office, one of the things I always say is that, when we talk about our overall health, healing, however you want to phrase it, it centers around the 3 Ps, which are the physical body, the physiological body, and the psychological body. And that is a closed loop, that is a cycle. So anything that can affect one of those P's will ultimately affect all of those P's.
That's right.
So whether it be the foods that we eat, our physical environment, occupation, traumas, any of those things can have an effect on any of those P's.
Yeah, and so, you know, we and Sister Sandy, you know this well, in the office, we talk about, we have 3 pillars and 3 philosophies that we stand on, right? The 3 pillars are God, mind, body, soul. All right.
4 pillars.
I'm sorry, 4 pillars. 4 pillars. I'm sorry, 4 pillars. 4 pillars. Mind, body, soul. And the 4 philosophies that we stand by are proper chiropractic care, proper nutrition, proper rest, and proper exercise. And it's not one of those things. It's the sum total of all of them. So it's just like a class. You know, when we're in school and you taking multiple classes in one semester or quarter, right? If you only pass one class in that semester or quarter, you fail the quarter or semester.
Right.
So you have to do all of that. So that's what we say when it comes to the health.
Right.
Absolutely. And let me add to what Dr. Fowler said a few minutes ago in regards to the body. Nothing exists on its own. You know, when we think about inflammation, people often think of inflammation as something that's bad. And if you guys heard what we said earlier, we said chronic inflammation. We didn't just say inflammation. Because acute inflammation, we want that.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have acute inflammation, we'll die.
Yes, that's
If
the
you
body
get a
healing
cut,
itself.
you know, if, you know, a paper cut,
Yes.
you stub your toe, that inflammatory response that your body does is what it's supposed to do so that it can go and heal that area. So if we don't have that, it's not a good thing. So when we talk about inflammation that's bad, we're talking about chronic inflammation and not acute inflammation.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification. That is very important.
Yeah.
All right, so as we move along here, I just want to start to go into some specific foods and additives that we can add to our diet that will help with that healing process. So with that said, Sister Rodgers, what were some of the most impactful changes in some of the foods that you were able to incorporate into your diet that helped you in your situation?
Thanks, that's a great question. So what I found extremely helpful for me was to eliminate all flour products and everything white. So we know that.
So that's the potatoes, the rice,
the milk,
the dairy, yes, dairy is a big one.
and dairy,
Yes,
yeah. And so because that the gluten is what I had the most problem with in my gut, and what the doctor explained to me was that it's just like, you know, in the summer when we go to summer camp and you make the little ashtrays, or we used to anyway, out of flour and water, right? So he said that's the same thing that's on the inside of you. So when you're eating all that bread and cake, and then you have your water or your liquids after, then it's just impacting the sides of your intestines. And that's what was taking so long to get out of my body. And that's what was causing my majority of problems. And so since I've gone raw, it's just perfect. You know, like I don't have all of those conditions and inflammation, you know, and things like that. And then I grow my own food too.
Yes, so you like you said, you know exactly what's in there, what's not.
Right.
Yes.
So what she said was very important, which is similar to what I said earlier. First, she said what worked well for my body, because Crohn's patients to Crohn's patients are not going to have the same food intolerances and food issues. And she talked about the fact that flour, so wheat, gluten is predominantly found in wheat in the American diet. Barley, rye as well, but we eat wheat all the time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, we're eating wheat. And if you have a gluten sensitivity, which is different than celiac disease, then you're gonna see a problem. So when she removed that gluten, then she started to see the healing occur, because the body was no longer fighting the foods that were, you know, intolerant to it. And then rice is not a gluten containing food, but if you had issues with rice,
I did.
that's she basically is the epitome of the definition that I give of nutrition therapy specific to the person.
Yes. And it's important to make that point that we are all individuals, and God made each of us individually unique.
That's right.
So what may work for one person may not work for the next.
Exactly.
But you really have to get to know your body.
Yeah.
We always tell our patients, no one knows your body better than you. So
Absolutely.
when you're seeing a healthcare provider or whomever it may be, you definitely want it to be someone who is listening to you. Because not, we're not here to lord over you or to, just do what I tell you to do, but that feedback is the most important. When we're having our consultations with our patients, the health history, which is the information that you give us, makes up 80% of our diagnosis. So it's very important, one, for you to be comfortable enough to express yourselves to us, but secondly, for us to be able to hear and listen what you're saying, so we can make those accurate diagnoses.
And that's really difficult to find nowadays. So, the Crohn's doctor, I'm not saying any names. So after her, I found another doctor to go to. And she was always amazed that I didn't have any problems. After year after year, getting older, she's like, well, what's up? And so, as that continuous learning, that lifelong learning, started taking on additional activities, exercises, Tai Chi and Qigong and things like that. And I went raw, working at the Living Foods Institute, teaching others how to do that. And so she was just really into it. And after my 4th year with her, she said, I just got married. I've been keeping my husband updated on every time you come, because she could never do a blood test on me, because she had nothing to
warranty, right.
And so she didn't order things unnecessarily. And she said that her and her husband had chosen to follow that life plan, and that they were, that she was quitting medicine because she knew she was hurting people.
Oh, wow. You had just as much of an impact on her as she had on you.
Wow. And come to the new doctor.
Uh-oh.
So after COVID, I went back to her, and my cholesterol was high. I never had high cholesterol, ever, So she was getting ready to write a prescription. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that, I said, give me 6 months. I said, because I know I've done this to myself. I said, give me 6 months, and if my numbers are still this high, I'll take your pills, right? And of course, when I went back, and the first thing she said was, oh my God, how'd you do that? If I could tell all my patients what you told me then, and she had to stop herself, right? Because then that's messing with the prescription. And so I have very good news to report today too, is that my blood pressure was trending up, and she gave me pills, and I stopped taking them, and anyway. Yesterday, my readings with my regimen in this body was 106 over 76.
Oh, wow.
And she looked like she 36.
Absolutely. But the best part of that, though, is she wrote on my records. Controlled by diet and exercise.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Because it can take a real negativity.
Yes. No, that is good. That's good. Sister Phil.
Yes.
All right. So, in piggybacking off of Sister Rodgers, what are some of your top go-to anti-inflammatory foods?
Plant foods. I mean, I can't even pick one for sure. But what I like to say is that even if you're not a vegan, which I'm not, predominantly plant-based consumption is the best for the body, 75% or more. So we want our plate to be as colorful as possible. So if you see someone who's eating and they're like kale, rice, chicken, even if kale is half of the plate, it's doing something, but we're missing some color. Because we're getting nutrients from that kale,
Right.
but we need other nutrients from the reds, the yellows, the purples,
Right.
the blues, like all those colors. So we want to have a colorful plate, and this is, you know, the plate method, that's what it's called, but I always add my little tidbit of making it colorful. So half your plate being non-starchy foods, because here in the United States, we're either predominantly starches or we're predominantly animal protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not predominantly non-starchy
Right.
fruits and or vegetables.
Right.
So we want them to be predominantly, your plate to be predominantly non-starchy fruits and or vegetables. Make them colorful as possible. 3 or more is a great start. A quarter is a starch, so that starch, hopefully you know what you tolerate, but if you don't, making, you know, if you're gonna have rice or pasta or potatoes, that quarter of your plate is where that would go. And then the other quarter of your plate is where your protein would go. So if you are someone who consumes animal products, so that's where your fish, your lean meats would go there. But if you are completely vegan, then that's where your lentils and your beans and all that would go on that side. And of course, it doesn't always have to look pretty. You know, I'm from the Caribbean, so we're rice and beans kind of people.
Right.
And so that side of my plate would be the rice and beans, but predominantly my plate is gonna be the non-starches. And if you don't have starches
Yeah.
at a meal, it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah. It's just like bread.
It's
you don't
not-
have to have bread.
You don't have to have a starch at every meal.
Right.
As we get older, and in my practice, I've noticed, you know, we don't tolerate starches the same as we used to.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you're gonna have a big vegetable plate, you can throw in some protein in there if you want to. That's fine. That's fine. And it doesn't always have to be raw either.
Right.
I love raw eating. I eat, you know, my raw foods all the time. But I know even myself, like in the winter, you're looking for a little cozy,
Yeah,
comfy
yeah,
meal,
yeah.
and you want to warm up something, you want to saute something. That's fine, as long as you're putting these vegetables into place. Of course, keep in mind, the longer you heat things up, the more nutrients you're killing.
Glad you said that. Yeah.
That's the way of things.
You know, we
can't change that.
a lot of times, like you say, the ooey gooey and all that, and so
Yeah.
people will cook the veggies until they are ooey and gooey.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily.
In those
nutrient.
situations, you know,
Yeah.
we joke, but it's true. Like when you cook a pot of collard greens for 10 hours,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
you're better off drinking the broth than
The
you
broth,
are
that's right, that's where
eating the
everything
greens
is.
and things, and everything's gonna be.
Yeah, but culturally, that's how a lot of us cook.
Yeah.
African diaspora, Haitians, we have something called legume. It's like a pot of vegetables,
Yeah.
and we're cooking it. It's not 10 hours,
Yeah.
but it's cooked through.
Yeah.
It's mushy.
Yeah.
And that's the way of things. I'd rather you do that than
Yeah.
not eat vegetables.
Oh, wait, yeah. You get that
For
pot
sure.
liquor.
Yes.
Drink that pot liquor.
Just a quick follow-up, Ms. Filemon. So we talked about some of the foods that we should incorporate from an anti-inflammatory perspective, but let's speak to some of the foods that we should avoid that help to increase the inflammation, like some of the refined sugars or caffeines or things of that nature. Let's speak to some of that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about ultra-processed foods recently in the news, and when we're talking about ultra-processed foods, because everything is processed to a limit. Unless you have your garden or you live on a farm, everything is processed to a point, even your apples, because they gotta wash them, they gotta this, they gotta that.
They gotta sit on the shelf so somebody can
Right,
buy it.
right, and
exactly.
they gotta sit, they look pretty on the shelf, right?
Right.
And so everything is processed to a point, but the ultra-processed foods are the foods that, they don't really resemble what they looked like or what the ingredients in them looked like when they were on a tree or in the ground or wherever they came from. So in these foods, they've been processed so much that they have removed the nutrients in them. And they are often containing food preservatives, because again, they gotta sit on the shelf for a period of time, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year or more. And so even food additives, you know, the food colorings, all those are disrupting our gut microbiome. And so killing the good bacteria in the gut. So we want to stay away from these foods as much as possible. The bacons, the sausages, that have been so, like when you look at the ingredient list, they've been so processed, you can't recognize that it's meat.
Yeah.
we want to stay away from these kinds of foods. We want to stay away from the kinds of cookies and wrapped baked goods. Again, the ingredients are so long and contain so many things that you don't even recognize as food yourself.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not saying not to eat cake.
No.
I will bake a cake at home. I have kids.
Right.
I will, even if I'm not baking, I will look for a place. I mean, things have come so far in access nowadays where you can find local bakers that do well with the ingredients that they're utilizing. And it's not to say that, let's say you were to go to, I don't want to say anything.
No.
But if you were to go to a box store and purchase a piece of, cake for a birthday party and you were to consume that, you're not going to die the next day.
No.
But it's that consistent consumption.
That's right.
Consistently.
Day after day.
Yes.
Especially if it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything is ultra processed.
Yes.
Where's the nutrients? How are you feeding your gut microbiome? These bacteria, they're dying.
Right.
Your car is gonna die if it doesn't have fuel, right?
Right,
So
that's
so
right.
will these good bacteria.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And like you say, it's day after day, week after week, and it's not just what you're putting in you, but it's the environment. So we're not only fighting the toxins from inside, but the toxins from outside.
Right.
We all of us right now have phones.
Right.
There's electromagnetic waves that
Right.
just enter, going in and out of us. That
Right.
is toxic.
Right.
But like you say, taking it in a little bit at a time may not kill you today or tomorrow.
Right.
But day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, it becomes an issue.
Right.
It becomes an issue.
Right.
Yeah. And even there's been some studies that have come out recently about some of the, and again, I won't name any names, but some of the alternative meats.
Yes.
And that's been a big craze here over the last couple of years. You want to be mindful with the consumption of those because we think we're safe. It's safe because it's not meat.
Right.
But again, these things have been concocted in a lab.
Absolutely.
And they are not from natural sources, and because of that,
Right.
overconsumption of these types of alternative meats can have detrimental effects down the road.
Well,
Absolutely.
and it's just like the other stuff too, like diet this, no caffeine that. We as humans, we like stuff that tastes good, right? So when they taking out stuff, they got to put something in it to make it taste good,
That's right.
so that you'll come back and buy it, right?
Right.
And it typically it's the stuff that's put back in there that's causing these issues, like Doc just said, with the non-meat. let's just say.
Right. Or the plant-based butters.
Yeah.
I'd rather you use regular old butter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Just moderation.
In moderation,
moderation.
of course.
Yes.
And let's add that moderation is specific to the person.
Yes.
Because again, everyone is individual,
Yeah.
and people tend to think that, well, so-and-so has cookies for breakfast. I don't even know why. But I've heard that. And so, they're fine, let me try it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
so-and-so may not have predisposition for diabetes or high blood pressure or any of these. I think it was a cardiologist I was interviewing one time who said, who keyed me in onto the moderation is specific to the person, because during Thanksgiving time is when he sees a lot of the heart attacks and all that happening around the holidays, and it's because people are like, well, I've been good, but just this meal, I'm just gonna go in, and that one meal
Take them out.
took them out.
And we need to be more aware how intelligent our bodies are.
Yes.
So for me, when I eat gluten, I swell up like a blowfish. It's just eyes are slits. But other foods also will have a negative impact on you. So like if you have a reaction or allergic to raisins, and that every time you eat raisins, something funny happens in your body. You can't put a name to it, you don't know what the medical term, but you know something happened. And we would just say, okay, body, I'm not gonna give you that anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Even though I might like how it tastes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. We
yeah.
gotta be smarter. That's all.
Definitely gotta be
Absolutely.
smart.
And it's sad to say, I have a gluten issue too. I'm intolerant to gluten. And when I eat it, what blows up is my stomach. I look 3 months, 4 months pregnant. And I'm like, but whenever I leave the United States and I go abroad, I'm able to have gluten with no issues.
Look how she said it. Whenever I leave
Yes.
I have to say I leave, it's different for everyone, but a lot of my patients, it's the same thing, they're able to tolerate, wheat and gluten overseas and not here.
Well, because it's processed different.
Yeah.
Outside of this country, the food it's processed. So a lot of the things, even some of the named brands that we can call off right now, when they're in other countries, the way that food in that name brand is different from how it is here. And they over there they won't even allow some of the same stuff.
They will not. They will not.
So okay, well, we're coming down to it, and so again, thank you guys. This all went by fast. Yeah, went by fast. So, final words. First of all, what I want to know is how can people get in contact with you guys if they want to, and also, again, any final words on gut health, on any kind of just healing in general. So we'll start with you, Sister Rodgers.
Thank you. You can reach me at Sandy Rodgers Ministries, and that's SandyRodgers Ministries at gmail.com. Love yourself. Trust yourself to know and have the wisdom that will guide you in the right direction as to what will benefit you and what will cause you harm and hurt. It only takes a couple of seconds, of just really, really studying you. We put so much investment in other things on the outside of us, and we trust everything that's on the outside. Start learning to trust yourself. And I believe that will go a long way toward that healing word that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
More than enough.
Ms. Filemon.
Yes, she said so much just with the little that you said.
And to only be 36 years old.
I think Sister Rodgers was talking about this earlier. So with our individual bodies, it's very important to give yourself the grace to not compare yourself to others. I think she said earlier that you're a lifelong learner, right? And so we have to understand that nothing happens overnight. You didn't do this to yourself overnight. So the healing process, and it can happen. Some people it's fast, but others it can take a while, especially to adapting to this new lifestyle. Baby steps. Make one change today, another tomorrow, or even this week and in another next week. Don't overwhelm yourself with, oh my gosh, I can't afford, how am I gonna make all this happen? Take time, write things down, see where you can tweak and make changes so that we are successful at this. Don't let, the rah-rah and the talks online that talks about, because of a lot of our lack of access, because we can't deny that there's a lot of lack of access out here in the world. There's a lot of food deserts out there, and we're not gonna ignore that part, but we can still make some changes. Food is medicine, okay? It's not medication, it is medicine. There's a lot of medicinal benefits throughout the years of this world's existence, from different cultures, from China to India to Africa. They've utilized food to heal the body. And a lot of the medications that are here in this, modern society is stemming from these plants.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay? So of course they're gonna make you think that the plants are bad, they don't, have medicinal properties, because how does that benefit the medications? And we're not telling anyone to stop taking your medication or anything like that. We're not y'all's medical provider. We don't know everything that's going on with you. But we want you to start thinking. We want you to start asking questions. We want you to don't just take what they say without asking questions and just run with it.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
You are your own advocate. That's what
Yes.
Dr. Williams
Yes.
said
That's
earlier.
right. That's
You
right.
are your own advocate.
Mhm.
And this is why, like, when people come to my practice, you know, you fill out this form, and then when you get to me, I'm asking you some similar questions because I'm probing you,
Yes.
reminding you things you forgot. Because I can't help you if you don't tell me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So give yourself the grace. And food is medicine.
Yes.
That's-
Yeah.
I'm-
No,
I'm-
that is it. I mean,
That's it.
how can they get in contact with you?
I am at Black Nutritionist Mama on Instagram, TikTok, and my website is johanefilman.com. JohaneFilem as in Mary, O-N as in Nancy.
Good. I like that. I like that. So just like you said, Sister Rodgers said a mouthful. You did too. You know, but our ancestors, they left us a lot of good nuggets, right?
Yes.
And about food specifically, and one of them is a proverb is if diet is bad, then medicine is of no need, because if you're not getting the proper nutrients in, the medicine is not going to help you.
Right.
But if diet is good, then medicine is of no use to you, because again, you get your medicine from the food.
Right.
If diet is good, and so your gut is closely related to the body's ability to heal. Your gut oversees digestion, boosts your immune system, aids in weight regulation, and helps to stabilize your blood sugar. A healthy gut plays a crucial role in supporting the immune system and overall well-being.
Absolutely.
A healthy gut is a foundation for overall health and healing. A healthy gut microbiome supports immune function, aids tissue repair, ensures proper nutrient absorption, and influences the body's response to stress and inflammation. A healthy gut produces excellent digestion, energy, skin, and moods.
I am Dr. Joseph Fowler Jr.
And I am Dr. Brandon K. Williams, and you can find us, or you can reach us rather, at area code 404-383-1110, or you can find us on the web at www.yourfinespine.com. That's YOURFINESPINE.com.
And as we always say in the office, if you want to be fine, take care of your spine. We got you.
Love it.
Thank you again, fan base, family, and friends. We look forward to tuning in with you all next week
Yes.
at the same time and place for another healthy conversation next week. So until then, be blessed and take care.
Take care.
All right.
All right. That's good. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you both.
Just seems like it went by so fast.
It
It did.
So just when we getting into it,
Right.
right? No, we definitely thank you guys.
Thank you both. That
So,
was an awesome
You're welcome.
conversation.
one thing we want to do is get a couple of pictures.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.